Vladislav Kanius, a teenager from Kemerovo in southwestern Siberia, brutally ate his ex-girlfriend Vera Pekteleva by torturing, strangling and stabbing her for hours. He was sentenced to 17 years prison in July 2022. Following a high-profile case that reignited a national debate in Russia about the lack of protection against domestic violence and the indifference of law enforcement to such cases. However, later Pekteleva's grieving mother, Oksana, received a photograph of Kanius not in prison, but in military uniform, surrounded by other Russian soldiers. His daughter's was pardoned by President Vladimir Putin in exchange for taking up arms in Ukraine. Oksana Pekteleva explained the shock the photo gave her family as follows: "I thought I was going crazy. I was zooming in on this photo and looking at her face in disbelief. You know how the human soul is. The first stage is denial. To avoid calling for another controversial mobilization and risk angering the public ahead of next year's presidential election, Russia's military has increasingly relied on recruiting soldiers from prisons to bolster its ranks, a tactic pioneered by the late Wagner Group mercenary boss Yevgeny Prigozhin. Russia's defense ministry has recruited as many as 100,000 people this year by sweeping prison colonies and offering to shave years off the sentences people convicted of some of the country's most horrific crimes. Rights activists say. A few days after Kanius' pardon hit headlines, news broke that a former police officer convicted for his role in 2006 of prominent journalist Anna Politkovskaya had also been pardoned by Putin after serving 6 months in military Ukraine. Former police officer Sergei Kajikurbanov was sentenced to 20 years in prison in 2014 as one of 5 people accused of organizing Politkovskaya's. Kajikurbanov's lawyer told Russian media that his client had recently signed another contract and would remain in the army. Kanius was secretly pardoned in April. Vera Pekteleva's family was not informed, but when a photo of her holding a gun arrived, it was suspected that she had been released from prison. In the autumn, Kanius was posting photos of himself barbecuing on social media. About a week ago, Vera's father received an official notification from the local prosecutor's office that Kanius was indeed pardoned and sent to the front. The Kremlin expressed no regrets when asked about Putin's decision to release to strengthen Russian ranks in Ukraine. Convicts, including those convicted of serious crimes, are atonement for crimes committed with blood on the battlefield, in assault brigades, under bullets, under artillery shells. Putin's spokesman Dmitry Peskov told reporters. Human rights activist Elena Popova, who represents Pekteleva's family and has long lobbied for a domestic violence law to be added to Russia's criminal code, said she was concerned that freed convicts, emboldened by their early release, would bring a wave of violence.